I heard the thing that I heard was that last time you were in Australia, you were actually partying with a couple of rather mega celebrities. In fact, you'd have to say one of the biggest musicians and one of the biggest talk show hosts in the planet.
It's true. And that, let me tell you, was a very awesome yet surreal moment. Do you guys want to hear the long version, or do you want to hear the short version?
Long version.
Okay. I'll start with Bono. I had the pleasure of meeting a few of the members of U2 close to 7 years ago while my wife was pregnant with our son Tyler. It was right around the Grammy performance with Jay-Z and Paul McCartney. And so we're getting ready to do the Grammys, and we're at these Grammy parties, and U2 is there. So I meet Bono and meet a couple of other guys. And Bono sees that my wife is pregnant, and he says, may I say a few words to the baby? And she's like, sure. So he gets down and literally cups his hand and talks to her stomach for an uncomfortably long amount of time. It had to be 3 minutes. It was 3 minutes that Bono was cupping his hands to my wife's stomach to Tyler. Okay, and so I was like, wow, that was great. So I was just she's mouthing to me is this really happening? And I'm like, it is happening. This is real, And it was awesome. And he said, I just kind of gave him a few pointers on how to live, life with the dad who's out in your position. And I was like, wow, it's really cool. So fast forward to last time we were in Australia, we're playing in Sydney, and U2 is playing in Sydney, and we got an invitation from one of their crew members. Worked with one of our crew members. They're good friends. They said, yeah, the guys would love to have the band come and see them play if they want to see them. And they said, tell Chester Bono would like to say hello. And so I was thinking, I had completely forgotten about the fact that we'd even met before. It had been so long, and I think I drank that night. I kind of didn't remember, and so I was like, whoa, dude, Bono wants to say hi to me. How random is that? That's so cool. I was like, yeah, I want to go. Dude, this is crazy. How awesome is that, U2 is one of my favorite bands, and I think Bono's awesome. I ended up going to the show. They corralled me to an area where Bono was supposed to come down and say hi, but he didn't make it. He had too much stuff to do, and so they were like, he would like to extend his apologies and invite you to a private party that he's throwing for Oprah after the show.
Of course he is.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you. And they were like, it's literally right next door to your hotel, so just go. You can walk over there and just go up to the top floor. They'll be expecting you. And I was like, okay, cool. So I watched the show. They were great, and I decided to leave early so I could get back to the hotel because I decided I was going to go. So I got to the hotel, and I walk over. I'm one of the first people there, which is always the best. That's always awesome. You show up, there's 5 people there, and you don't know anybody, and no one knows who the hell you are. I'm kind of just walking around, and normally I'm very introverted and very kind of, in social situations like that, I normally don't talk very much. I'm very kind of quiet, talk to myself, very polite. I watch my manners. It's funny because it's not really the person I am. I'm kind of more open like the person that you're talking to now. And so I was just like, I'm gonna make an effort to just go up and talk to somebody. I'm gonna just go up and say hi, and I'm gonna do that to every person I see so that I don't feel so weird here, And so I just start walking up to people and talking to them. Oprah walks in. I'm like, oh crap, there's Oprah. Wow, this is crazy. This is really, it really is a party for Oprah. I thought maybe I just didn't say, they were going to make appearances here and then leave, I'm like, wow, should I go say hi? And I was like, no, I'll just leave her alone. She's Oprah. I'll leave her alone, but I'll talk to everybody else. So I'm in there kind of hanging out and talking, and I'm drinking my seltzer water with lemon. And I get a message that, from somebody that Bono's coming up, and he would like to say hello. So I go, okay, and I go over and say hello. And I was like, hey, how are you? Nice meeting you. He's like, hi, Chester, how have you been? And I was like, oh, I'm good, Yeah, it's really, thank you for inviting me here. Thank you for the show. It was wonderful. I think he realized that I'm not sure if he realized that I didn't know that I had met him before, but clearly he had met me before, and he knew that we had met before. We ended up talking, and he's very nice. We walked back. So we're at the party. There's there's party area, and then there's a roped off area where, we're all going to go sit down with Oprah and Bono. And it's me and Rob Borden. He's our drummer. And from that point on, basically had very deep, fun, intellectual, entertaining conversation with Oprah and Bono for 4.5 hours until 4:30 in the morning. Bono's getting drunk and Oprah's getting drunk and Gail's there and we're talking all sorts of smack and we're talking about really important things and then we're talking about interesting. It's basically it was my personal Oprah show. So like it was like Oprah and Bono, you know, did one of Oprah's shows where she interviewed Bono, but it was just for me while they were drinking.
And they're both drunk.
It was great because she's asking him like all these great questions because she's, you know, an amazing interviewer, obviously.
Yeah.
And so she's asking him like all these awesome questions, and he's just answering them like completely open and like unguarded and like just talking and being very funny. And he loves to talk and he's very entertaining, which was awesome because I did not want to talk. I was very happy just sitting there and just listening. And, you know, Oprah's friend Gail came over and she was having fun. And so we were just partying, and finally like at 4:30 in the morning, I said, you know, you guys, I can't keep up with you guys. Like I've had about as much Pellegrino and lemon that I can stand. It's 4:30. I have a show tomorrow. I'm like, you guys have beat me. I submit. You know. And so we did our farewells, and they were very nice. It was really fun. And then I woke up the next day, and I was like, what the just happened? Like this was, you know, I could not believe that it was real. Like it was so bizarre. And yet so amazing, you know. And my wife was like, "Did you take any pictures?" And I was like, "No, there are some moments that are just meant to be experienced. You know, they're not meant to be documented or, you know, duplicated. You know, they're meant to just be lived, and then you live with the memory." And that was one of those moments.
That is one of the gnarliest stories I think I've ever heard of everyone that I've interviewed. Chester from Lincoln Park, Jesus, what a night.
It was awesome.
I know that's real, but it sounds like the best acid flashback ever.
It sounds like a dream, right?
Yeah.
It's like it sounds like, dude, you guys listen. So last night I had a dream where Bono invited me to this gig, and then afterwards he threw a party for Oprah, and we sat and had cocktails and drank and partied and talked for 4 hours until like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was awesome. It seemed so real.